Hey friends, Damian Mason coming at you today to talk about economic colonialism as it pertains to China and why it impacts you. Article just this week about Pakistan, one of the poorest countries in the world that is all of a sudden going to be completely indebted to China because China went there over the last 10 years and put up a half dozen electricity plants. Pakistan need electricity. Their peasants are struggling. 110 degrees, no air conditioning, no refrigeration for their food. China swoops in with $25 billion of investment. Oh, goodness, wonderful, benevolent China that cares so much about the world's poor. No, that's not the case. China's using their money to take over the third world, doing so in Latin America, doing so in Africa, doing so in Asia. Pakistan took the deal. Wrongly, stupidly, because that huge investment came with up to 34% annual interest payments. There's no way that this poor nation will ever get out of debt. They profile one poor peasant who makes $125 a month, which is the median income in Pakistan, and has a $60 per month electricity bill. Can you imagine half of your income going to pay for electricity to run a couple of fans, a small refrigerator, and turn on a couple of lights at night? That's what Pakistan's up against. Guess what? This other part of this deal involves Pakistan's on the hook for the investment and the return to pay for it in 10 years, buy the electricity from China for 40 years, and by the way, even if the peasants turn off the lights and the fans, Pakistan still owes the money for what the expected electricity was supposed to be. In other words, Pakistan is over a barrel and is not going to be able to make this debt payment. Worse yet, it's denominated in dollars, so as Pakistan's currency has gone down in value, they still owe, based on the world reserve, the US dollar. Where is this going? China will take over Pakistan by bankruptcy, by foreclosure. You see, economic colonialism is a little bit like old-fashioned colonialism. In the old days, the militaries from places like Europe would show up to your third world country with their gunboats, take over your country, exploit the resources, and all of a sudden enslave you. Well, that's not what's happening anymore. It's being done with money. China wants to replace the United States of America as the world's military and economic leader. What are they doing? Economic colonialism, going to third world countries, poor nations, developing countries, and infusing huge amounts of capital to put in infrastructure, things like electricity plants. By the way, those are not windmills or solar panels. See that? They're coal. Almost like China doesn't care about this whole climate change thing we're so caught up in. They're doing it in South America. Look at the cozy relationship with Xi Jinping and the president of Brazil that one might argue Brazil installed. Look at Peru, a $1.3 billion port. One of the biggest ports in the world just opened on the west coast of South America. China's the investor. Why would that be? Because China wants to exploit Latin American resources. And when Peru defaults on the debt, China will then just seize the assets. That's what they're going to do in Pakistan and every other country where they've deployed their economic colonialism. They will, when the countries default, which they're bound to do based on the terms of deals like this, then China will seize the assets. You see where this is very bad for the United States of America? Because China now will have ports, infrastructure, power plants, and control. It's like a big, huge game of risk, but it's not just a game. It's for real. Economic colonialism is a very big threat to the United States of America because this is what China's ploy is, to replace us militarily and economically throughout the globe. Be on the lookout for this. Why does it impact us in the business of agriculture? Because China, as I've said before, for years, will go away from us as a customer and will replace us as a supplier through countries like this. This impacts you also, whether you're in the industry of agriculture or not, because China's a threat to the United States of America. Damian Mason, host of the Business of Agriculture Show. Thank you for tuning in. And you know what? Check out all of my episodes, all of my videos at my YouTube channel, and please subscribe while you're there.